ProfitTrading.com. We're going to take a look at some stocks. On this TNT software, the green bars are bullish, yellow bars are neutral, red bars are bearish. So right now the S&P is still in an uptrend, but I think the S&P has made a top. This is the SPY, which is the S&P 500 ETF. Now we made this new price high on a lower MACD momentum reading, and then now we're hooked over on the MACD, and just this big slam down to me says that the top's in. The sellers have taken over. Now the S&P could just trade lower. It could come back up here and make a lower high, which they often do, and that would kind of make a head and shoulders top. So this thing could still go kind of sideways here for a while, but I think it tops in or close to being in. At the very least, I think it's good to be very cautious in the stock market right now. In my premium newsletter, we're only going short stocks, and I've shorted a couple, and we're just going to sit back and wait and see what happens. I'm not going to short anymore until I make sure that the market's heading lower. Apple, we all know what happened to that. That's in a strong downtrend. So that's just a quick look at Apple, and you can see that the volume's picking up as it's selling off. So that's not good. So Apple looks lower. I'm just looking at a couple of stocks I think are bearish and I think are good shorting opportunities if the market continues lower. ALXN, lower highs. It came up. It made a counter trend rally here. It didn't make a new high. With the bulls and bears, it's on a sell signal now with that red arrow. And the CCI, it made a bearish divergence at the top. Higher price high, lower momentum reading. We can zoom in on that a little bit. Let's see here. And again, you can see the purple arrow or violet arrow, whatever you want to call it, is the CCI sell, and then the red arrow is the bulls and bears system sell. So right now it's on a sell signal, so we could actually short this stock now, but I'm not shorting anymore right now until I see what the market's doing a little bit, like watch it for a little bit longer. But this is definitely one that I will be considering selling in the future here. I mean, they're not going to go straight down. There's going to be, it could come up and test this trend line. It broke this trend line. It could come up here and test this. I mean, there's going to be plenty of opportunities to sell stocks if they keep going down. So I'm not in a real big rush to get a whole bunch of them shorted right now. Amazon, this just looks like it tops in. This sideways action, again, if it breaks this trend line, I expect sharply lower prices. This arrow here shows you lower highs it's making. We can look at a weekly chart real quick and see how that new high on the weekly chart, new price high, came on a MACD divergence, and this just looks like it's making a sideways, just basically hanging on for dear life before a break lower. What I think is going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. Coinstar CSTR, it looks like it's made a head and shoulders. We got a bulls and bears sell. And stochastics is pointing down. You can see the stochastics made a bearish divergence at the top. I think this one's heading lower. Now Google kind of took off lower before a lot of the rest of the stocks did. So right now I think this is the first swing down on Google, and then I think Google will probably retrace and then it'll break lower again. They normally, once they make a top, they come down and they retrace. So Fibonacci retracement, we can throw that on there real quick. 0.618 retracement will come in at 813, so it might not. Now I have noticed, one thing I've noticed about these fib numbers is 0.618 is a big one, but 0.78 I think is the other one, and a lot of times on the retest of the high it will go up to a higher fib retracement. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Google get up to here around somewhere and then break lower, and that's what I think is going to happen with Google. Again, this is just, I'm just kind of telling you what I think is going to happen. Again, we got trading and saying what you think is two different things. So, we'll watch it with more market action. I could change my opinion. It just depends on how the markets play out here. But right now, this is what I think is going on. IBM collapsed today. Heavy volume. Whenever there's heavy volume like that, that is extremely bearish. Bulls and bears put on a sell yesterday, but to go short, like if you would have not seen it during the intraday action yesterday, you would have had to sell that big gap down today, which would have been hard to do. But anyway, IBM, it looks like it tops in. Let's look at a weekly chart of that real quick. Look at that top, and I think I just, well, I don't think, I'm sure I put out a video a week or so ago, showing that I thought this was a top in IBM just because of what was going on here. 3 thrusts into a high, and MAC. I'm sure it's making an MAC divergence. I'm sure that's probably what I said in the video. Let's see here. MAC. Well, actually, that didn't make too much of an MAC divergence, but I was probably looking at a different indicator or something. But anyway, I did mention that this looked toppy on IBM in a video. KORS, that looks like it's making a head and shoulders top. Lower highs. Bulls and bears sell. The red arrow is the bulls and bears sell. It's painting red bars. Now, this would be the neckline break probably right here. It depends on how you want to draw it. There's different ways to draw these. Some people might draw it. This is an art, not a science. You could draw the head and shoulders. There's all different kinds of ways to draw, but this looks like the best fit right here. And so, it's consolidating a little bit here, and that makes sense because this is a support area, and it could even trade up a little higher from here. But anyway, we're short this one in the premium newsletter, and I think it's going to head lower. So, it's definitely, see how it big gap up, and then this is a hanging man candlestick if you follow candlesticks, even though this isn't a candlestick chart, and then it collapsed down lower. That just says the sellers took control. That's how stocks make top. The exuberant buying, and then all of a sudden the sellers take over, and this stock's probably heading lower. MLNX, I put a Fibonacci retracement on that, and it's pretty much right at the 0.618. So I think this was just a counter trend rally, and then it came down and it came up to test. And if you look at the weekly chart of this, it's pretty bearish. The weekly chart is on a bulls and bears sell, and it's just making a kind of a counter trend bear flag type rally, and I think this one's going to break lower. It'll probably break this trend line here and break lower. So I think that rally's about over with ML and X. And these are all ones we're going to be looking to be short in the premium newsletter. Now here's another one we are short. The two we're short right now is KORS and QCOM. This is QCOM, and this looks like it's put in a head and shoulders top. Again, gap up, slam down. The sellers took control. Lower test of the high. This is just classic the way they play out, and then it made this big wide range bar down, and it looks like it's breaking through this trend line. Now today was kind of a reversal bar there, but that's another thing they'll do is they'll break through the neckline, and then they'll come back and test, and then it'll come back down lower. So I'm expecting this to break lower. Again, we'll see. We put in our sell signal. We got short right here. We got our stop up here, and we're just gonna, if we get stopped out, we get stopped out. If it breaks our way, I think it's a good trade. I don't think we're gonna get stopped out. But that's the way we do it in the newsletter. I just look for these patterns and a bunch of other technical indicators. These bulls and bears. This is on a sell, red arrow down. MACD shows the momentum's down. So to me, the odds are with the downside on QCOM right now. QCOM. And so again, QCOM and KORS are the two we're short that we're looking at here in this video, and the rest of these I'm looking to go short if the market continues lower. QQQ, this is the NASDAQ ETF. Again, it makes the new high and then it slams down. That just says the sellers took control. We can look at the MACD or stochastics here real quick. Let's just we'll try stochastics for something different. And yeah, that's a bearish divergence. It's kind of hard to tell, but that is a bearish divergence. And now the stochastics has rolled over. It shows the momentum's down. Again, we've had a slam off the top. I wouldn't be surprised to see it come up and make a retracement, but either way, it could also just go lower too. It's hard to tell on these what they're going to do. Starbucks, this has really been struggling. It came up here, made a double top. Bearish divergence. I'm sure if we put a MACD on here, it'll be bearish divergence. Yeah, clear bearish divergence on the MACD, and now the MACD is on a sell signal. This, if it breaks this trend line, and if it puts in a red arrow on bulls and bears and puts in a red bar, I'll definitely be going short this one in the premium newsletter. And then we're back to the SPY. So that's a quick wrap up of stocks. The stocks we looked at were Apple, ALXN, AMZN, CSTR, Goog, IBM. Now IBM, the way I would be looking to short this if it makes a retracement, and it might not be much of a retracement, but this, what I'll look to do here is if it comes back and tries to fill the gap in here somewhere, and like if the stochastics gets oversold or something, and then like bulls and bears might go on a up arrow because of the little short-term rally, and then if it put in a red arrow, I'll be looking to short. That's kind of what Apple did here. If you look at this, Apple on the big downtrend. Let's see if I can get this lined up right. On this big downtrend, yeah, sorry. Anyway, it was a big downtrend, and then it'd make these counter trend rallies, and then it'd put in another sell signal. That's what I'll be looking for IBM to do. Maybe make a counter trend rally and then go put in a sell signal. So I wouldn't necessarily short IBM right now, even though I think it's heading sharply lower. And then Kors, K-O-R-S, we're short already, and we just sold it right on the break of this bar here. And we're already a little bit ahead, but not much. And then I got my stop up here, about a 10% stop, and we're just gonna see what happens. MLNX, again, this, just look at this on the weekly chart. Slam down, counter trend rally. When the counter trend rally is labored like that, that just tells you that this is not really strong buying. This is more of a short covering rally here, and then this is probably going to head lower from here. I think it's pretty obvious, but again, you never know. But that's where this stock's heading, MLNX. And then we've covered the other ones. So thanks for listening to my video. This is Jim with ProfitTrading.com.